भस्म शांत कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा यथैधांसि समन्त्योऽग्नि भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा। यथाधांसि समदोऽग्नि भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानिग्न सर्वना कर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा।
यथैधांसि समिधोऽग्निर् भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन
भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन
ज्ञानै सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा
भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा। माता जी यथैधांसि समिघ्नो अग्निर् भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा। यथा just as idhamsi fire samukta blazing agni fires bhasmasat ashes kurte turns Arjuna O Arjuna Jnana Agni,
the fire of knowledge,
Sarva Karmani,
Sarva Karmani,
all reactions to material activities,
all reactions to material activities,
Bhasmasat,
Bhasmasat,
to ashes,
to ashes,
Kurute,
Kurute,
it turns,
it turns,
Tatha,
Tatha,
similarly.
similarly.
Translation purport. This divine legacy of Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
As a blazing fire
As a blazing fire
turns firewood to ashes,
turns fire into ashes,
O Arjuna,
O Arjuna,
so does the fire of knowledge
so does the fire of the knowledge
burn to ashes.
burn to ashes.
All reactions to
All the actions,
material activities.
material activities.
So we are engaged in this world, and we are engaged in so many karmas. Correct? So many things we do. Some may be right, some may not be very right. Some thoughts may be right, some thoughts may not be right. So many things happens in our life. So we are bound by the reactions of our activities. This is called karma bandhana. So the question is, okay, how do I become free from? As long as I am bound by karma bandhana, I cannot escape this material existence. Whatever body I am in is also based on my karmic reaction. Whatever desires I have is also based on the previous reaction. Whatever wrong is happening, whatever right is happening is also based on previous reactions. So we are, whatever we are, is basically we are, like this, covered by our karma bandhana. Although we may not be able to see it. And then we need to break open this. So Krishna is here giving an understanding. And he is telling one can break open this karma bandhana by the fire of knowledge. See, if there is firewood, and then you put fire, what will happen to firewood? Burn to ashes. Likewise, we may be bound by our material existence, but then we gain transcendental knowledge, and immediately we will be free. We are in a cage, and immediately we will be free if we can gain this transcendental knowledge. So this is very powerful. Why? Because actually transcendental knowledge is not just reading Bhagavad Gita, but transcendental knowledge is actually pure bhakti. Transcendental knowledge, for example, if I am thinking right now that I am part and parcel of God, and I am servant of God, and my existence in this world is temporary. The soul is engaged in this body, but actually the soul is part and parcel of the Lord. So this is transcendental knowledge. Just this thought is freeing me from my karma bandhana. Bhagavad Gita is all about transcendental knowledge. So if you want to become free from our karma bandhana, so two things are required. One is you come every Saturday to Okimos. What is this called? Community Center. Masonic Center. Come every Saturday to Masonic Center, where we can discuss and gain transcendental knowledge. And second is we apply what we are hearing. Just understanding is not sufficient. But what do we apply if we are not understanding only? Application comes, first comes understanding. First we need to know what to do, what not to do, what is right, what is wrong. The clarity while living in this world. And once we have the clarity, then comes some determination to be able to practice it. And when these two things hand in hand, then we can be free from our bondage of karma. Okay, very simple thoughts, but any discussions? Tejas Shubhi. And Krishna Prasad. Yes.
So what's the difference?
Welcome back. Prabhuji was with me, we were roommates for how many? 15 years? The whole trip since I was in India, he was there with me. Constant companion. In Vrindavan and Mayapur. Hope we had good time. We missed those good old days.
Yes. Yes.
Continue.
So what's the difference between this knowledge and the Gyan Yoga?
Yeah, Gyan Yoga is more at a speculation level, or at a mental level, at a theoretical level. But this is transcendental knowledge, this is like realized knowledge. So when we are realized, then it's completely bhakti. Like how our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, previous acharyas, they were always in transcendental knowledge. They always were in a relationship and they were not being captured by the illusory energy because they were always fixed in their transcendental knowledge all the time. So that itself is bhakti. And when we are fixed in that knowledge, that time any karma bandhana from past is burnt off and no new karma is being born, is being formed, because everything is done with that transcendental knowledge. So previous is burnt and no new karma is born. So in that way one remains in a liberated state all the time. But Krishna will describe in future couple of verses how to gain that transcendental knowledge. Just by reading and understanding, even if I know what is right, what is wrong, I may not be able to act on that. So I have not really received the transcendental realization of the knowledge, although I have some understanding of it. And that's why we are saying, first we hear, we understand, and then we apply. And that application solidifies what we have heard. And when we are established in that solidified understanding of what Krishna is saying, and how we are living is what Krishna is explaining, when there is a complete coherence, then we have actually attained transcendental knowledge. And that is pure bhakti. Everything that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita is pure bhakti, pure devotional service.
So if we just know things without applying it, so then it's like Jnana Yoga.
If we know Bhagavad Gita, that is still part of Bhakti Yoga, but it's knowledge in practice. It's not realized knowledge. But if we study Vedas and do a lot of mental speculation and no Bhakti, no God in picture, just dry speculation, that is Jnana. Jnana Yoga has no God in picture, no Krishna in picture. It's just we are just speculating here and there, trying to analyze and debate and argue and don't get anywhere. Okay. Any other discussion?
We come here and we hear about Bhagavad Gita, which we read at home. And those of us who read. But the only thing is how to actually apply it. How much time does it take to actually start applying some things? Is it only, I know the mercy is needed for sure, and the effort that you put in. So there are only two parts, effort and mercy. Is there anything else to it?
No, only two parts. And this is shown by Damodar Leela. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna and she was not able to bind, every time she was trying to bind Krishna, the rope was
2 inch short.
2 finger short. 2 inch you both sakte ho baat. 2 finger short. And 1 finger represents our
Ego.
effort, our intellect. And the second finger represents Krishna's mercy. And when both things are coherent, then Krishna was bound. Likewise, when we are putting regular effort, and our effort will attract Krishna's mercy. And by Krishna's mercy only, Krishna can be bound. When he likes to be bound by our devotion, when he likes, he can reveal himself to us. Until that time, we just keep applying. And while we are applying, there are many obstacles on the path, pitfalls, many tributaries on the path. And that we keep getting understanding so we don't get deviated through the message of Bhagavad Gita. So there is constant hearing. So we are on the right path. So that we are putting our effort in the right direction. Like if you are trying to cut a tree and then you use an axe and then you are hitting all over, you can never break the tree. But you have to put at the right spot all the time. Slowly it goes deeper and deeper. Just put here and there. Never break it. You may after probably thousands of lifetimes. We have to put it at the right spot every time. Then it is very effective. So likewise, we want to practice bhakti in the right consciousness, right mood. And then our bhakti will be very effective. So that we don't put here and there, we need proper guidance from scriptures. And then we apply. And very quickly it will affect. Like everybody in India does so much of, it's like putting all over the place. And then Krishna consciousness, like we learn again how to hit and we hit it. And we hit on the dot all the time. And that's why the progress made in very few years is like so much. It does not matter what is your background. How sinful were you from the past. But the process is so pure, it's going to cut it. All the karma is cut. Alright? Any other discussion? Krishna Prasadji, some questions? Oh, what is your good name?
Jagadish.
हाँ?
Jagadish.
जगदीश। देखो इंडिया में सबके नाम भगवान से होते हैं। So beautiful.
Next to him is Krishna Talluri. Again, Bhagwan.
Okay, we got the next one.
So then, Prabhuji, what is the other way for the liberation is the Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and then
Fourth process to attain liberation. The first path is Karma Yoga.
Karma,
And then that leads us to Jnana Yoga.
Jnana,
And then that leads us to Dhyana Yoga.
Dhyana.
And that leads us to Bhakti Yoga. Would you like to know a few lines about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga? So what is Karma Yoga? The yoga means keeping Krishna in the center. Yoga means which helps us to connect with God. So what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is doing our work without attachment to the results. Still, we are motivated to do our work without attachment to results for the sake of pleasing the divine. That is Karma Yoga. So I say this all the time. I will say it again. Tomorrow you receive an email from your office and they say, the company has become bankrupt. We will never be able to pay you any salary from now onwards. But we want you to continue working 9 to 5. You will be very grateful. Please support us in this time of need for the rest of your life. How many of us go job next Monday? We'll start applying your resume somewhere else. I said it's very difficult to work and not be attached to the results, right? Naturally, everyone is working and everyone is looking for results first, then comes the work. This company is not giving me enough salary, so I have to switch. The position is not good to have to switch. So result comes first and then comes karma. So how difficult it is to apply karma yoga in this life. But somebody who is working and no attachment. Suppose 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days and you're working very hard and there is nothing you gain and no attachment. Then at some point of time, one day will come, you will think like, why should I work? What is this? You are doing so much effort and there is nothing in return. Then one day you will think, what is this all about? What is this all about? What is this work all about? But when I am working with attachment, the whole life will go with that, fulfilling that attachment. But otherwise, one day will come, what is the purpose? What should I do? And that leads to getting some questions answered. Who am I? Did you ever thought in your life, who am I? It's so natural for us to think, who am I? And from our childhood only, we know birth and death is there. Everybody knows. And we also have some understanding, although we may accept it, we may not accept it, we have some understanding that we are eternal, that we are spiritual beings, and the body is temporary. And we remain in the past life, we remain in future life also. And we are there in this life also. So for what? What is my purpose? And then once this question arises, then one starts looking for answers to questions about life. And that is Jnana. And then when he understands, speculates, reads a lot, then he comes to the point, just by hearing, understanding, reading does not take me anywhere, but actually I have to apply something and put into some practice. Then he starts doing, his mind is very much disturbed. Then he starts doing some asana, some pranayam, make the mind peaceful. He starts trying to find the Lord within the heart. And when he actually finds the Lord within the heart, that is called Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga is realizing the Lord within the heart. Jnana Yoga, no realization of God. Karma Yoga, question of life itself does not exist. It's just working without attachment. That leads to answer, start asking questions. That leads to I must do something about it. And then we realize that who is the Lord, and we see the Lord within our heart through the process of Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Then start the point of now I must do some service. Now I know Ekala Ishvara Krishna are Sabhatya. There is one supreme person, everybody else is a servant. It's like he is the master of everything that is happening. And we are trying to connect to our master, connect to our Father in a loving relationship. And once we realize who that is, and when we start rendering service to him, that is Bhakti Yoga. So it is described Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga is like steps on a ladder. But the goal is Bhakti Yoga. So when we start from Bhakti Yoga, it's like we directly begin where all the other processes ends. Another example given is Bhakti Yoga is like taking a lift right to Krishna. We directly start with putting faith in the Lord. Okay, here is Lord and let me serve him. That with the regular step takes lifetimes to come to that understanding, here is God and must serve him. That was a question, right? 4 parts.
So then in this yoga ladder, so all these like yoga ladder, all these steps goes to the liberation. Huh.
Yes, eventually. Eventually,
So then what is the example of, who is the example of Jnana Yoga or the Karma Yoga? Means Karma Yoga is not practically possible. We cannot give our karma to the Krishna at all, which is not possible.
As you practice bhakti, karma yoga will become practical. Without devotion, karma yoga is very difficult.
Any live example in the past?
Example, Krishna speaks about Maharaj Janak. He performed everything. Mother Sita's father. He perfectly performed karma yoga and he attained the supreme through that path. Because he was doing everything for the sake of the Lord.
Then why was fighting in the battlefield?
Who, Janak Maharaj?
He has
Just to set a good example. We discussed this, right? Maharaj Janak example.
I don't
It
know.
comes in Bhagwat, 3rd chapter. We are on 4th. So we must discuss. उस क्लास में नहीं हो.
No, the Prabhuji, he was just fighting to save his kingdom, right?
He was fighting only for setting good example. But he became self-realized because he was doing everything for the pleasure of Allah.
Yeah, that is his Raj Rishi, but
That is, then we discuss in the middle of the 3rd chapter comes setting a good example. Importance, even if we are liberated, we must still continue our duties to set a good example. Krishna says, if I fail to follow my duties perfectly, then the whole world will be put to ruination because nobody will follow. They will say, Krishna did like this, I should also do like that. So that's why even if there is no duty to perform, we must do it, even if we are liberated, to set a good example. There he gives an example of Maharaj Janak, who attained perfection because of karma yoga, but still doing to set a good example. Alright? Okay. So, we go to number 38. Nahi jnane na sadrisham
nahi jane sadrisham
pavitram iha vidyate
pavitram iha vidyate
swayam yoga samsiddha
tatsayam swayoga samsiddha kalenatmani vidyati. In this world,
there is nothing so sublime.
there is nothing so sublime and pure
As transcendental knowledge.
as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge
Is the mature fruit of all mysticism.
such mutual fruits of all mysticism,
And one who has become accomplished
and who has become accomplished
in the practice of devotional service.
in the practice of devotional service,
Enjoy this knowledge
enjoy this knowledge
within himself
within himself
in due course of time.
in the course of time.
This is very important here. It says one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service. So first Krishna glorifies transcendental knowledge and he says one who has this transcendental knowledge, he breaks the bondage of karma and becomes liberated. So Krishna here is explaining that how can one enjoy this knowledge within himself. First thing Krishna says, in due course of time. Means it's not going to happen tonight. It's going to take some time. And what we have to do during that time, one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service. So we take the path of devotional service and we practice. And as our practice of devotional service become more and more mature, more and more accomplished, then this knowledge will awaken within our heart. And that is going to happen in due course of time. And one who has attained this knowledge, he will realize that there is nothing so sublime and pure as this. So many people perform so many mysticism. Krishna says such knowledge is a mature fruit of all mysticism. Krishna says different people does different sacrifices, and the purpose of all the sacrifices is to gain transcendental knowledge. And Krishna says there is nothing like this, nothing so sublime and pure. And Krishna says that is attained by practice of devotional service. As it matures in due course of time, one will be able to enjoy this knowledge within himself. Rupa Goswami says one thing which is 6 things that are very favorable for bhakti. And one of them is, he says, patience. And one of them is determination. So we need determination to be able to practice. We need that determination. And And then with determination, when we must practice with determination and enthusiasm. When, especially at one point of time, if our bhakti is going very nice, then we are very enthusiastic. But then when we don't experience much, then our enthusiasm wanes down. And that's why Krishna is telling, that's why Rupa Goswami says, practice with enthusiasm and with determination and with patience. Being enthusiastic, day one is, it is like Gauranga one time telling, he says to come to Krishna consciousness is difficult. To stay in Krishna consciousness is very difficult. And to stay happy in Krishna consciousness is most difficult. But to come is difficult. Not everybody comes. To stay is, people come and start, and then after a few months they feel like I am done with this. One person, he was a doctor, started coming. Then he started chanting 8 rounds or 10 rounds, and he started feeling very good. And he would do his round very fast and very absorbed every day, early morning. And then suddenly one day in his mind he says, I think I got the essence of this program. Then I don't need to go to the program. So he stopped coming for a few weeks. Then I went to his home. I said, oh, what are you doing? You're on the right path, now don't miss the boat. He said, I got it. Now I got the gift of ISKCON. I'm never going to leave it. And I know this is the way to attain perfection. I've understood the whole philosophy. Then I said, Prabhu, it won't work if you're not in association. He said, no, I'm determined. Very determined. So 6 months later, I asked his friend. He said, yeah, I stopped chanting now. And now he feels like I missed the boat. So that is why it's not easy to be determined. But rather our determination comes from Sangha. But if you are determined and enthusiastic, and then how much patience is required? See, like our spiritual masters, they don't take many questions actually. Because devotees ask many questions, but the answer to all the questions is keep practicing. Everything else will come by practice. Even if I say, no, how do I get rid of this anarthas? And there is no shortcut in bhakti. Everything else is just be patient, and over a period of time you will attract the mercy of the Lord. But then what is the association for? Is it to hear the same thing? A part of it. But it's to keep Krishna conscious of us. We do Kirtan together. And when we do Kirtan together, we discuss realizations of each other. We do Arti together. That itself is a form of bhakti. We are not coming to this program necessarily to learn something new. Or today I learned something that I did not before. The purpose is not to learn something new. Because if that is the case, then after some time you feel like I'm not learning anything new, so what's the point of going? But the purpose is to become more Krishna conscious. We want to become more absorbed in Krishna. We want to remember Krishna more. Okay, some thoughts. So let's see the purport. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our knowledge, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. Cause of bondage is ignorance, and cause of liberation is knowledge. This knowledge is a mature fruit of devotional service. So when we practice, then we gain this transcendental knowledge, this realization, this clear understanding of myself. So this knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. See, Prabhupada does not say this knowledge is the mature fruit of reading. It's a mature fruit of devotional service. We gain knowledge not by reading. We get an understanding by reading, but we gain knowledge by practice of devotional service. And when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere. Everyone is looking for peace. When I ask people why you are coming to temple, most of the answer is we are coming for peace. So Prabhupada says he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys the peace within himself. Peace is within us. And who enjoys the peace within himself? One who practices devotional service. And to the extent when the devotional service matures, he will become very peaceful within oneself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita, is to become Krishna conscious. Okay, we go next one. Shraddhava labhate jnanam
Sadhyavan labhate jnanam
tatpara samyatendriya
tatparasamnitya
jnanam labdhva param shantim
jnanam labdva param shantam
achinenadi gacchati.
asidenadi gacchati.
A faithful man
A faithful man
who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge
who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge,
and who subdues his senses
who subdues his senses,
is eligible to achieve such knowledge.
is eligible to achieve such knowledge.
And having achieved it,
And having achieved it,
he quickly attains
he quickly attains
the supreme spiritual peace.
the supreme spiritual peace.
So a faithful man, it begins with faith. Who understand that this is what I need and I want to practice. I have faith in the process. I have confidence in the process. And I want to do it. So he is a faithful man, and then he dedicates himself that I want to become self-realized. He dedicates himself. And then who subdues his senses. Who is faithful, who is dedicated, and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge. Any thoughts on this? How not subduing the senses will not lead to transcendental knowledge?
If we subdue our senses, we can't stay dedicated in the path of bhakti or devotion service because it doesn't keep going well.
How many times Krishna focuses and Krishna speaks about subduing the senses? How difficult it is to subdue the senses. What does it take to subdue the senses? Is a strong mind. When the mind is weak, then anything senses says, they're like, all right. Anything, all right, anything, all right. So it takes, as Krishna says, one has to, if one is faithful, one is dedicated, where do we get the strength to subdue the senses? By the practice of bhakti itself. What is the most important aspect of bhakti? Is we chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
So this is the most effective way to practice bhakti. And then we are doing it, and then if we are faithful, if we are dedicated to it, and then if the senses have some unfavorable demands, which the Lord speaks from within our heart, which we gain the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita at the same time, when we engage the senses in a way that produces guilt, then we know that this is not something the Lord wants. And then there will be a constant inspiration from within our heart of what not to do with our senses and what is okay to do with our senses. And as we follow the guidance of the Lord, as we remain sincere, as we remain faithful, and as we practice, then one becomes eligible to achieve such devotion, such knowledge. And having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Okay, any thoughts, any discussion, any question? Okay, we can less discussion, so we can read some more. Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Today morning we were discussing what happens, when do we begin chanting? What is the start point? The start point is faith. And the faith leads to
Devotional service.
sadhu sangha.
Mm.
Those who have faith will associate with saintly people and Bhagwat Gita and Bhagavatam and will start getting understanding. And sadhu sangha leads to
Bhajan Kriya.
And when we start doing our bhajan, then bhajan kriya leads to
Anartha Nivritti.
anartha nivritti, where the anarthas will starts to wane away. And what are the anarthas?
Kam, Krodh, Labh, Moh.
Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad. But actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a different definition of anarthas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are 4 kinds of anarthas. And he said one of the anartha is Swarup Brahma. Brahma means knowledge. Swarup Brahma means when we don't, means misidentification of our identity. It is said that when we chant the holy name, we should chant with Sambandha Jnana. What is Sambandha? We discussed this in the past year. I remember 1 hour talking only on this topic. Not here. I can't get sometimes I get confused. Many times I get confused. So what does Sambandha means?
Relationship.
So chanting in Sambandha Gyan, what does it mean to chant in Sambandha Gyan?
We have to remember that we have a relationship.
And that relationship is eternal. And when we chant in that consciousness, if you see, I think I was discussing on Friday, whatever our Sambandha is, naturally we'll think about that during chanting. Based on what we identify as our Sambandha, that will come in our consciousness while chanting. An example of that is, you may think about our children, you may think about our office, you may think about something, husband, wife, you may think about father, mother, you may think about even some object that we feel we have a relationship or we want to acquire something. So we see when we chant, we become absorbed based on our relationship and what we associate with or what we identify ourselves with. And that comes as a distraction for our chanting. Make sense? And that's why Sambandha Gyan is when we actually think of ourselves as not a husband, wife, father, mother, son, daughter. Those, when we think of themselves as that, it is true, but it is temporary relation. But Sambandha Gyan is when you chant with that I am a son of Krishna. That's one way. I am a servant of Krishna in one way. Like Krishna says, Aham Bija Pratapita. I am seeking Father. I am remembering my Father. If you think of like I have an eternal relationship with him, that has been forgotten. And if you chant in that relationship with him, then that is called chanting in Sambandha. When you chant in Sambandha, you will have a different experience. But many times when we are not chanting with Sambandha Gyan, then chanting becomes more like I have to commit this many rounds and this much time, and it keeps going on and on. So he said best is to chant with Sambandha Gyan. And one of the anartha Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is Swarup Brahma. Brahma means illusion. So Swarup Brahma means misunderstanding of our identity, when we don't understand who we are. And that itself is a kind of anartha. And not is a kind, it's one of the anartha nivritti. There are 4. One is Swarup Brahma, misunderstanding of our identity. When that becomes fixed, then your service will become fixed. For example, what is Nishtha? steady now. How many of you are parents? Enough of you are parents. Most of you are parents. Are you very steady in cooking for your children, sending them to school, packing a tiffin box, teaching them? And what makes you so fixed in your service is because you are fixed in your sambandha. Some of you are husband wives, and then you are very fixed to your service to your, maybe if you are a wife, then service to your husband. And some of you have a job. I think most of you have a job. I am the only odd one. And then some of you are very fixed in your job. So you should not so much. Only crisis management. इसके बिना काम नहीं चलेगा तभी काम करेगा. Because your samantha is higher. That's why. But some of us are very much fixed in our job and our work and our study because we are fixed in our relationship. Okay, this is my manager and this is who I am. This I need to serve. When we are fixed in our sambandha, you will see your activity in that sambandha will become very much steady. Does it make sense? The importance of sambandha gyan. And when we are fixed in our sambandha with Krishna, then your relationship and your service to Krishna will become very steady also. And when our sambandha in this world is very fixed, very strong, but our sambandha with Krishna is very weak, then it will be difficult to chant with the proper consciousness or be very fixed in our service. But we will be rather very much fixed in our sambandha that we are fixed in. But we will not be so steady in our devotional service to Krishna because that is not fixed. And when that goes away, and when it becomes natural for us to understand ourselves as part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna, son of Krishna, when that relationship becomes fixed to a greater extent, we are crossing over the stage of anartha. That's one of it. Okay, any yes.
So this sambandha, like it's just like we are the son of God, or like
It can be different for different people.
but we don't know, right?
Yeah, but one thing we know is we are part and parcel. He is our eternal relationship exists with Him alone.
Yeah.
So He is our Father, or we are His servant, or we want to engage in their service because this relationship is eternal. One devotee was telling me, Prabhu, this is amazing. Today I was talking to him and he said, Prabhu, one thing is amazing. He was in a relationship, he got married, then he got divorced, then he got job, then his father left, and now he found a girl, he's planning to get married again. And between many things happened. And he said, Prabhu, before I was married, Krishna was with me. When I was married, Krishna was with me. When I was in difficulties, Krishna was with me. And now I'm going to this, Krishna is with me. So I feel like Krishna is constantly there with me. And he said Krishna is constantly there with me through the holy name. So Krishna is always there with me, although my life has changed to so much roller coaster.
What is the form of Krishna now?
When in the
As you told us that.
Sambandha.
What is the form of Krishna?
Prabhuji, in the beginning, we see Krishna through the name. In the beginning. And eventually, we realize Krishna as Tribhanga form. Tribhanga means three folds. One fold is at the ankle, one fold is by the hips, and one fold is by the neck. So it's called Tribhangi.
Always Krishna statue is always in Tribhangi form. कृष्णा की फोटो हमेशा त्रिभंगी फॉर्म में होती है.
Generally. Yes, sir.
Once we establish a sambandh with Krishna, does it always go up?
It becomes up and down based on our association, our hearing in the beginning. But at some point in time, it becomes fixed. Fixed means it becomes more steady. Any of these things, absolute perfection will be attained only at prema, when our sambandha is like fully revealed. But for most part, if we can feel our relationship with Krishna and if we relate to Him, for the most part, it means we are more in our eternal identification. And then bhakti will be natural for us because our relationship is very clear. Okay.
Then which form is very easy to make the relationship with Krishna? Like Nanda Baba and they prayed for the years. I mean,
Yeah.
more than 10,000 years as a son.
Yeah.
So then we don't want as a son. So then which other form is very easy to make
Well,
relationship?
I mean, we don't make those choices. It's something a part of revelation. Just chant.
But like the Nand Baba and Yashoda Mata has desire that I want the Lord to be our
Because they are
son.
eternal father and mother of Krishna, no? So their desire was very strong in burning. And they were in a pure state. So the purer we are, the desire will be, the longing will be very intense. And that's why they could do austerity for 10,000 years. For us, one day austerity is okay, but Krishna will come first, let me have some nice prasad today. Then we will think about Krishna later. So, but for Nanda Baba Yashoda, because they are eternally that relationship and a pure form, so the desire was burning in them. Like Dhruv Maharaj also very advanced soul from previous lives, so desire was burning. That's why they could take such intense austerity to realize Krishna.
So how to make the burning desire?
How to make desire burning? It will come with purity of our heart. The more the heart becomes cleansed by chanting the holy names, the more that desire to serve Krishna will increase. That sambandha will intensify. And that's why it's a path of mercy. And the mercy, it's like it's there within us. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Gavurma Shavana Rishuddha Chitta Kalavita. When the heart becomes cleansed, that is awakened, which is already there.
But Sridhama, same time the Sudama got in the previous life he was a demon.
Sudama.
Sudama. Huh.
Well, he was always Sudama eternally, but he took that form for the sake of a particular pastime. And it was like a moment, and then he joined back. It was for a moment he took that form for a particular pastime. But he's always Sudama, Krishna's spirit. Like Hiranyakashipu, he completely forgot Narayana.
Mm-hmm.
But he is eternally the gatekeeper of Lord Vishnu. But by the usually he temporarily forgot and became like a Danava and then joined back very quickly. Like when Sudama came and Shankarchura, just like Jai Vijay came. It was a temporary incident. Okay, are we good with Swarup? Yes, ma'am.
So what are the other three things?
So the second is Asat Trishna. Asat Trishna means attachment to temple. Asat Trishna. Trishna means
Thirsty.
thirsty. Asat matlab Sat means
Sat means truth.
truth. That's why we say Satsang. Satsang means association of
Truthfulness. The
pure
pure
who follow the path of
bhakti.
eternity or devotion. Satsang. Asatsang is association of those who have Asat Trishna. So Asat Trishna means thirst for material object. And it is said that in our initial stage, the thirst for material object is very strong. And then even if we really don't want it, we are still gonna hanker for it over and over and over. And it takes a lot of energy to calm that thirst down. And our constant focus is how to aag ko bhujana, how to subdue the fire of Trishna, that thirst for material object. And slowly, the process of holy name itself is so wonderful that the thirst will become like lesser and lesser and lesser. And it is said when we cross over the stage of anartha nivritti, when we go beyond anarthas, 75% thirst is gone. And then our energy can be focused in developing our sambandha deeply. And our energy does not go so much in subduing the thirst, but our energy flows more in strengthening our relationship. And that's why it becomes more steady. In the beginning, sometimes we are able to subdue the thirst and sometimes we give in to the thirst. And that frequency in which when we give in to the thirst also gradually wanes over a period of time. And then Asat Trishna can be anything. Can be for anything temporary. Can be for wealth, can be for position, can be for fame, can be anything. It's just a strong thirst for something, and that becomes a distraction for our devotion. Clear? Asat Krishna and how it acts as a speed breaker in the path of bhakti and takes so much energy. Okay, what are the other two?
Prabhuji, in principle, everything except the devotion can be called as a termed as a Satrishna, right? Everything. How do we differentiate, or to what we should give some energy and what we shouldn't give our energy?
I mean, we, like, as our acharyas explained, we don't need to give up anything, but we see everything in relationship with Krishna. Then everything is perfect. But when everything is seen with me in the center and purpose of enjoyment in the center and not Krishna or service or advancement or bhakti, or that is the center, but only me in the center, then that is the thirst for asat. Then our decisions are motivated by asat Krishna. But otherwise everything can be totally Krishna service. No harm can happen. If the motive is clear, bhakti. Short and long. Okay? What are the other two? Sushabara. Asat Krishna.
One of them due to past sinful activities.
I'll open that and then I will answer the question. Understanding anarthas. The 4 types of anarthas in Nam Bhajan.
Siddhi.
Tattva Vibhrama is Sarup Brahma. Then Asat Krishna. Then I'm not going in detail. Then one is Hridaya Daurbalya. Hridaya Daurbalya means weakness of the heart. Weakness of the heart. How many of you have, you know what weakness of the heart means? When you know what I should be doing, but you're not so strong enough to do it. And that is another kind of anartha. How many of you have that weakness of the heart? You all have very strong weakness. Somebody says, "Yes, Gulab don't eat animal rice." Difficult to do. Ada to Buddha. So this is called Hridaya Daurbalya. Just karna chahiye. Sometimes you're not able to do it. Of course, there can be forms which is not so unfavorable, and there can be forms which is very unfavorable. But when we are able to do what we want to do, what Krishna recommends, then we cross over this stage of Hridaya Daurbalya. There is more detail, but we are just seeing. The third is offenses, Aparadha. When we are not fully pure, then offenses are kind of natural. We don't have to put it, but we are walking offense. Here and there we make some mistake and we just keep making mistakes. And makes our when we commit offense, then our bhakti becomes unsteady. It becomes difficult to practice devotional service. And actually the offenses can also lead to some health issues also. There are many effects that the offenses can lead to. And now imagine if we have become free from offensive thoughts or offensive talks or offensive mentality, if we have no thirst for material objects, if we are fixed in our relationship with the Lord, and if we can do what we want to do, there is no Hridaya Daurbalya. What a great state that will be to achieve. So sometimes we say, Nishtha is a chota moda cheez hai. Arey chota moda cheez nahi hai. That itself is a very wonderful. And then once the bhakti is nishtha, then what do we gain is, we gain ruchi. Ruchi.
Taste.
Then that is the next step. And what Krishna says is all these stages take some time. And that's why Rupa Goswami says, be patient and gradually they will wane off. They will wane off. Unfortunately, shortcuts are not there. Otherwise, I would have taken that route.
What are the example of each aparadha?
Of
What are the examples of these all aparadhas? There are 5 different aparadhas, right?
Seva Aparadha, Vaishnava Aparadha, Dham Aparadha, Jiva Aparadha, and Nam Aparadha.
Example.
Example of Nam Aparadha is one of the 10 offenses are there. Then Seva Aparadha is we are worshipping the deities but not properly. And that's Seva Aparadha. We are not clean while worshipping. Then there is Vaishnava Aparadha, is against the devotees of the Lord. Actually, the first of Nam Aparadha is Sadhu Ninda. But Nam Aparadha is others also. That's the 2 different categories. And still, Vaishnava Aparadha is a separate category because it has a very severe consequences.
What
The
it will
Dham
come?
Aparadha is offenses against the holy Dham when we visit there. One of them is we may litter the Dham, or we may see Dham on a material platform. Kitna ganda hai. So there can be aparadha to Dham. And then Jiva Aparadha is one may not be a Vaishnava, but one may offend another living entity, go in an argumentation, debate, or criticize. Even at work, then it becomes Jiva Aparadha. And when we are not willing to give Krishna help, then that is also Srila Prabhupada says a slight form of Jiva Aparadha.
What is it?
Like when we are not willing to speak about Krishna to other living entities. Okay, there is a lot of details in that, but this is just an understanding of, because general understanding of anartha will be free from the 6 anarthas, but they all are part of these, but then there is more to it. For example, lust comes in asatrishna, any attachment is of that form, and unfulfilled lust leads to anger. And all these,
Second chapter.
second chapter. So you will see all them lie here anyways, but then there is more to that. Hriday Daurbalya, not having the clarity or not establishing our relationship in the Sambandha. So there is more to that.
When you said Dham, when you said seeing the Dham on the material platform, is one of the practices also like seeing kitni bheed hai, jaise things like that.
Kitni bheed hai.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that a practice?
we don't see this bheed, but we see what a devotion people have.
So is it an practice?
Like, jai guy believe that
नहीं ऐसा नहीं, मतलब still like just seeing that there are a lot of people, चाहे कोई भी, like still seeing the number.
Depends. How do you see the number? In a, like one can be, one is like not a positive way to see them, and one is to see how much people have devotion for. Wow. So then there's another way to see same thing, but how we perceive. Yes.
Dhama Prabhu will be the most of the people will be doing Dham because they are not, most of the people are the devotee.
Seva Aparadha, Dham Aparadha are not so like
Severe.
consequences.
Severe, yeah.
Vaishnava Aparadha has the most severe consequences.
Vaishnava Prabhu means if you not follow the order of the devotees.
No, it's
When
just
you-
if you disrespect a Vaishnava, criticize a Vaishnava,
Okay.
or speak ill of a Vaishnava. So it is said that even if a Vaishnava has fault, I was listening to my spiritual master, and Maharaj was mentioning, even if a Vaishnava has fault, it's okay if he has fault. We all have fault. But when we actually speak about the fault, because we all have faults, and Krishna is taking care of all of our faults. Krishna is glorifying us, all of us. But then when we see somebody's fault and we focus on that and we speak about that, then the lotus feet of Bhakti Devi is offended. And then it becomes an impediment to our bhakti. And then what we gain in the morning, some holes are created and we lose them. And it becomes difficult to focus. So we want to understand how to be able to hold bhakti. Because many holes are there. We want to fill those holes. And the spiritual understanding helps us, okay, how to fill those holes. But before we can fill them, first is identifying the holes. Let's say we had some mice in our building, in the Krishna house. So the first thing that they do is they have to identify where are the holes in the building. Correct. And then they put something to block those mice. So first is like, okay, where is this coming from? First we identify where are the holes. And then we start patchwork. And that itself is a state, and once it is kind of sealed, the house is sealed, then it's like steady service without mice. Steady devotional service.
What
Without
about the
this.
traps?
I don't know. The traps are like the agents of illusory energy. They're like, come. You're like, no. That's not good for me. So many traps in this world.
Prabhuji, is Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani or Radha?
So Radharani is Bhakti Devi. And Tulsi Maharani is also Bhakti Devi. And Tulsi Devi serves under Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the Ishwari, Vrindavana Ishwari. But she has given the service to take care of Vrindavan to Tulsi Maharani. And Tulsi Maharani's joy, Vrinda Devi's joy is to serve Radha and Krishna together. And do whatever they say and give them pleasure. She exists to give them joy. And any resident of Vrindavan can give us bhakti. Not only. Actually, it is said that it is actually attained from resident to spiritual master to devotees. That's how bhakti is coming to us. But ultimately, the goddess of devotion is Srimati Radha. Ultimately. Because she is the one who has the maximum devotion to Krishna, the source of that Antaranga Shakti, the personification of bhakti is Srimati Radha. And whatever devotion anybody has is actually emanating from Bhagwat. So she's. But Vrinda Devi can give us that. It's easy to anyways. Vrinda Devi, many devotees pray and they get it. So it's kind of secret.
Then it's easy to get the bhakti from Tulsi Devi or to Radharani.
Anyone can give. Krishna can also give, Guru can give, Vaishnavas can give.
Most easy.
Nityananda Prabhu. Okay, we go more. We go to this one, next one.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question? So other than chanting, what are the other ways to do patchwork?
To do?
Patchwork.
Patchwork. Oh, patchwork.
Patchwork?
Patchwork is the second verse of Nectar of Instruction. That is a patchwork. Which is अभी तक तो इतना सुना हम लोग को याद हो गया होगा 5 हफ्ते से हम लोग सुन रहे हैं which is अत्याहार प्रयास प्रजल्पा not following rules and regulations of bhakti. So these are like Rupa Goswami has already given the various codes and patchwork is start working on those. And we realize those also based on our, like how Krishna reveals to us now. We have a lot of depth in that.
Prabhuji, if you have made, for example, a seva prarabha, any of the plants, and then you start controlling your food intake, let's say, because of, let's say, Atyahara. How is that related?
Atyahara, food intake is just a very small aspect of it.
Yes.
But Atyahara means overindulging in anything Asat Krishna basically. Asat Krishna thirst for material object, and if we are doing it for the sake of oneself, it's Atyahara. If you,
We can get rid of the offense that way.
because of offenses, Atyahara becomes more prominent. We want to do more Atyahara, it's a result of our offenses. So what we have to do is, only one thing which can help us get rid of them is the 10 offenses have different ways how to take care of each offense. Like sadhu ninda, then begging forgiveness from the sadhu. If it is blasting the scripture, then worshipping the scripture. So that there is description. And even after taking care of those offenses, if you're not able to understand what is the offense which is hampering my devotion, then it is a continuous chanting of the holy names. But it is also said that if there is an aparadha, especially it is said about sadhu linga, suppose you criticize a Vaishnava and then you think, anyways, holy name will just continue, then I don't need to take a humble position. Everything will, holy name will take care. Then the holy name have an adverse effect on us. So what it is said that, but if we do take a humble position and say, yeah, Prabhu, I said that, I think I shouldn't have said that. Then you don't have to really keep on speaking. Just a line is enough, just a text is enough. In some way we cater to it. And then still the heart of that Vaishnava is not pacified. And we still see the effect, although we beg forgiveness. Then take shelter of the holy name. Because our part is enough. We forgiveness by cutting our own kya kar sakte. What can we do? We have already catered to it. And just the holy name.
For seva prabhuji, there's like no tod nahi likha hua seva.
Seva Aparadha, only Harina. It's very easy to overcome Seva Aparadha by Harina. And there are 64 Seva Aparadhas.
64.
Seva Aparadha. Even wearing shoes in front of the Lord is a Seva Aparadha. Sitting, keeping the feet in front of the Lord is Seva Aparadha. Many ways. Not standing when the Arti is going on is Seva Aparadha. अगर आप सेवा अपराध सुनोगे तो आपको लगेगा कि यार लाइफ इज सेवा अपराध. So many details are there.
Coughing in the arti.
हाँ?
मंदिर में खांसी आ जाती है, वो भी अपराध है. Coughing.
खांसी नहीं, but if we speak or glorify ourselves in front of the deity or speak things not related to the Lord in the temple hall, there are various kinds of seva aparadhas. And it begins with understanding them. That's why we have nectar of devotion. Begins with understanding them and then trying to apply it. And then once in a while, उसमें ये भी लिखा है कि which color of cloth you should not wear in the temple. तो वो आपने पढ़ा है.
Is it possible to know all these ones?
Yes.
Yes, Ali.
To send Seva Aparadha from Nectar of Devotion link in the group. We will send the link in the group where you can read. And then if there are questions, we can discuss. Okay, we go one last one, or I was also thinking to describe how to do Arati.
Arti. Yes.
Last 10 minutes.
Arti.
So I always had this question about why do these aparadhas exist? Because we are talking about Krishna, and so we're not normally when people get offended, it is usually because of more of ignorance, that they are offended because of their pride, something else. When that is not there, nobody gets offended, even in this world. I mean, we can try to not be offended at least, but so it always kind of like, I understand that it is our attitude that is more the focus, not the other person getting offended. Yeah, but I feel like if there is like, all these hundreds and thousands of aparadhas, and it becomes like a big exercise in numbers and politics, rather than the focus is not very clear.
That's maturing our bhakti. Na? In maturing our bhakti means maturing our behavior, or our walk, our talk, and becoming such a perfect, proper says Vaishnava is perfect gentleman. So one becomes such perfect from all angles, then one doesn't offend anyone. And that's part of becoming pure. And one way we become purified is we make a mistake and then we see the effect of that mistake, and then we get a realization of what we should not be doing, and then we become careful there, and then another aspect, another angle, another. So it's like a lifetime of training basically. Bhagwan, Paramatma, Krishna through his holy name and through within our heart as Chaita Guru, Super Soul, is training us to become more and more refined. If he does not give a reaction, then what is the impetus to become pure? But then how do we realize also? But if you see the effect, so bhakti is very scientific now. Make a mistake, we see the effect and we know something wrong has happened. And then we get a realization also from within our heart, and then we work on it and things becomes, and then it's a gradual process. So actually it's a training by Krishna, training by Holy Name. Okay, so first if you see that regular temple standard, first the Lord eats the food, and then the conch is blown, and then the curtain opens, and then when the Lord, say a great personality enters, and everyone is waiting, when will Maharaj come, when will Maharaj come, when will Prabhupada come, and we are all waiting. And then Maharaj just is outside the door and somebody blows the conch, and the door opens and Maharaj enters. So everybody bows down, and then there is incense and there is a worship. So it's like Arati means the Lord is coming and conch is blown. Here is the time to take darshan of the Supreme Lord. And the darshan opens and the Lord is standing there. And then the pujaris, on behalf of everybody, he offers an Arati. So Arati is basically reception, receiving the Lord. And this is the worship. Clear? The purpose behind Arati. Now, the first article that we offer in Arati is an incense. Like I remember when I was a student, one professor came in my home. So my mother took perfume everywhere. So that when he comes, he feels good. So that is why we offer Arati. So we are creating a nice fragrance for it. We are trying to, it is said love is when we give pleasure to Krishna's senses. So we are trying to give pleasure to Krishna's senses. So that's the purpose of incense. Okay. Then also then the second article that we offer is a lamp. And how do we offer incense? We circle it starting from the feet all the way throughout the head and go back to the feet. And that's one round. And we do it 7 times. So we blow the conch, and then we go over the incense around the body of the Lord 7 times. And if there is Radha Krishna, then first we go 7 times towards Krishna and then 7 times towards Radha. If there is Radha Krishna Gaurnita, then first Krishna, then Radharani, then Mahaprabhu, then Nityananda. Then maybe Tulsi Maharani, she is there, and then at the end we show to all the devotees. In the Arati, along with worshipping the Lord, we also worship the devotees by the same articles. Clear? And then the second article that we offer is the lamp. The lamp can be offered a single lamp, or it can be Panchadip. In homes, one lamp is okay, and plus Panchadip is offered. And lamp represents the devotion of our heart. And lamp also represents the fire element that we are offering to the Lord. The incense represents the earth element. Just like there is earth, water, fire, air, ether. Likewise, we are offering all the elements to the Lord. The main thing with the lamp, we are offering our heart of our devotion. Another example is given in Goloka Vrindavan. The devotees offer the lamp to the tears of their eyes when they see the Lord. So that wet eyes is like lamp of faith. How many of you saw Varsana Maharaj? Some of you met Varsana Maharaj. One devotee was mentioning Maharaj's eyes were always wet in devotion, if you noticed. Very watery eyes with pure devotion. So that's how devotees offer lamp. Also, is Arati there in spiritual world? Or is only there in material world?
It is there in the spiritual.
In spiritual world? So after we go there, we'll do Arati to Krishna?
Arti, all the service, yeah.
Arati also?
Yeah, so many service we'll do.
But Arati also there? Yes, no?
Yes.
Someone hesitant to answer. So it is mentioned every day when Krishna returns after churning the cows, and he comes. Then Mother Yashoda opens the door, and Krishna comes, and she is ready with the Arti paraphernalia. She's like, Mom, I'm getting late, I'm hungry. It's purely out of love. But even there, the reception is in the same. So how it is coming here is actually a replica of being in spiritual world. That's what is performed. And the third article that is offered is water. And water is called arghya. देखा जब दुल्हन विदा होती है तो क्या करते हैं? कुछ चावल when दुल्हन is like bright wood, some auspicious rice with kumkum, other things we throw. So arghya is like auspicious water. Actually, arghya consists of some durva grass and some rice, some gehu, and there are some auspicious articles with which the arghya is made. But in our tradition, to simplify, we just offer water to the conch. And you know where is the conch coming from?
Yes. Samudra Manthan.
What is conch? Where is it coming from? Ocean.
Ocean.
So what is it made up of? Shank. What is the shank made up of?
Is it the shell of something?
Shell means? Is it a bone?
It's a cover up.
Oh, it's made of also.
It's made of?
Earth element.
Earth element.
Stone.
Is it a bone?
No.
Conch?
No.
It's not a bone?
It's a calcium. It should be a
It
bone.
is.
Ist-
It is.
Should be bone?
No. It's a stone.
It's exoskeleton of something. So either the body or outside.
Yeah, I
So it's a bone? Yeah, so conch is a bone.
Yeah.
And whose bone is conch? Shankachula.
I was like snail.
See, you know what is, you heard about chamar?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is chamar made up of?
Yak animal feather.
Which feather?
Yak animals.
Tail.
It's
पूंछ
not
का.
a feather. It's the poonch है जो
Poonch.
poonch है.
Tail of a
Yeah,
yak.
yak.
Because he was given the benediction that you will be used in my service. So it's very specific what we can use. We cannot take our human hairs from some lady and do chamar. You know, eh? So it's very specific word, and it's all scriptures. It is said if you touch a dead body, you have to take bath. But we worship Krishna with a bone. And everything is scripture.
Peacock feather.
अभी आ रहे हैं. ठीक है? How do we offer water? The only article which starts with the face is water. Every other article starts with the feet. So what we do is from a pot, we take some water in a conch, and then we offer it to the face, and then we offer to the whole body.
So you fill the conch with the water?
Yes, you put water in a conch, and then you put conch to the face because arghya is offered onto the Lord.
How many times?
3 times is a tradition.
And 7 around the whole.
And the 7 around the whole body. Yeah. And that is, the number is more like, this number doesn't come from scripture. Because scripture says start with the face and then the whole body. But this number is so that there is a standard across ISKCON. That's why in our tradition we do 3 times arghya to the face and 7 times to the body. Then after water, the 4th article offered is a cloth. And some people say this water is for bathing. Bathing happens after Mangal Arti, then bathing happens. Actually, snan. This water is just arghya. And cloth is any guest come, you give them a cloth, they can do whatever they like. They can wipe their hand, they can do whatever. We are just offering a cloth as an article of reception. Okay. Then again 7 times to the body, starting from the feet. And the 5th article is offered a flower. But it is described that flower should be with a smell, with a fragrance. One of the seva aparadha is offering flower to Krishna which does not have a smell. So that's why along with the flower we also offer some itta. So that this is American flower doesn't have a smell, so I'm offering itta to you. To the word seva aparadha. That's a genuine custom. And then after that there is chamar. The purpose of chamar is the air element, also to remove the flies. Fly doesn't come with chamar, is skin, that chamara. And the last element is a peacock feather, because Krishna wears peacock feather and Krishna loves peacocks. And it gives a cooling effect. And those are used only in summers. In winter we don't use peacock feather, in winter we use the 6 articles. And then begins with the blowing of conch and ends with the blowing of conch, the Arati. And before we start Arati, we do Achman. Achman is purifying ourselves with water. It is said water is purifying element. And what we do is, we take water in the hand and we invoke and we purify the water or make the water transcendental by invoking the mantra by looking at the water. Those who don't know how to do Achman, we take water in the hand and then we say Om Keshavaya Namaha, looking at the water. We invoke. Water itself is purifying agent and we invoke the water with transcendental mantra and then we sip it to purify the body. Because we are externally clean by bathing, but we internally cleanse through mantra. And then we do 3 times. First time Om Keshavaya Namaha, second time Om Narayana Namaha, and third times Om Madhavaya Namaha. And the 4th time we take water and we say Om Govindaya Namaha and we wash our hand. So that helps us to become pure internally. So this is the Achman process. So first we purify ourselves so that we become ready to be presented before the Lord. Another thing that before we go to the altar is we have clean clothes. Of course in temple we follow proper worship, but not here or not when we are outside or home worship not necessarily needed. But Sri Prabhupada says 2 most important aspects of deity worship. One is cleanliness and one is punctuality. Offering around the same time and keeping the altar very clean. And then before we offer any article, we purify the articles. And how do we purify the article? By taking a drop of water and putting into each article. So there is a bamboo stick to the incense. Put some water there. So then it is purified. क्योंकि कितने लोगों ने छुआ होगा उसको, किसने बनाया होगा झूठे मतलब. So when you may have touched, somebody may have maybe eating some potato chips and making some incense in the factory. Who knows? Things may not be very pure. No? So first, before we offer to the Lord, we purify it. Purification is through the water. So and then.
So during purifying the other things with water, do we need to recite any mantra, or it's just the water?
Mantras are there. But then if we go into the mantra now, I don't think anybody will be able to hold it. Because there are so many mantras. But right now we are going through the process, the basic understanding of the flow of Arti. So once you have an understanding and when you see the pujari doing in the temple, then you will understand, yeah, this is something I can relate to it now. And I feel like what they are doing and where they are and when it's gonna end. But then it's good to observe Arti. And one more point is when we offer any article, it becomes prasad. So we don't keep it back into the plate. Just like any food offered to the Krishna cannot be offered to Krishna again. Anything offered to Krishna once, like other
flowers.
You offer a flower to Krishna, and then you are like, no flower. So let me take the same flower offered to Krishna again. No. Anything offered to Krishna cannot be offered again. Likewise, an article, and when what is offered to Krishna touches the remaining flowers, then everything becomes prasad. Or just like you offer some dal and you mix with the whole dal, then the whole dal becomes prasad. The remaining portion also cannot be offered if it is mixed. So likewise, when one article, say deep, is offered to Krishna and you put in a plate where other articles are put, then everything becomes prasad, then they cannot be offered. So that's why any article which is offered is kept outside the plate. And because we offer with the hand, between each article we purify our hand, take 3 drops of water or a drop of water, and then we touch the other article. So in that way, basically this is the principle of cleanliness. that the hand is clean and the article we are offering is clean, and then it is offered. So that's why you will see pujaris in temple, after everything, we wash the hand on the 6 times in each article. Most important aspect of Arati is devotion. But at the same time, there is a process that we follow. And then with that, we add devotion. And Krishna is not hungry for the process, Krishna is hungry for devotion. But then, yes, ma'am.
Can a napkin be used instead of the cloth?
Yeah, it can be a napkin. Yes.
Unused.
Huh?
Unused.
Yeah, it's not used for any other purpose, and we wash it, we dry it, and then we can use the same thing. Something happened, I don't know, that's it.
Who said unused? I mean, of course.
नहीं बहुत सारे लोग मतलब जो भी भगवान को कपड़ा लाते हैं वो न्यू क्लॉथ्स ऑलवेज
पसीना भाग के
हाँ पूछ के फिर उसके बाद वॉश इट एंड देन अगेन यूज इट दैट डजंट वर्क
नो मतलब भगवान को ऑफर करके we wash and then
नहीं भगवान को नहीं पहले तो अपने कोई और कुछ काम के लिए यूज किया
can
फिर
we use for personal purpose wash it.
हाँ
So we can reuse the same napkins
Yes.
once we wash and keep it clean for the day.
Just like
Correct.
we use the same body to serve the Lord every day.
Yeah.
But we clean it every day. Likewise, we use all the articles and we clean it every day. Then I get a new body every day.
and the last then the bell we need to
The bell should be resounded along with the entire Arati process.
Oh, yeah.
Bell should accompany. And it is said that the sound of the bell contains all the Vedic mantras. So if you are ringing the bell and there is no kirtan going on, then itself is a kirtan. Yes, a bell is always rung. But Jiva Goswami says in Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan is of prime importance. So along with Arati we also do Harinam Sankirtan. But bell is a very important piece.
and Prabhuji, when the curtain opens then we need to take the darshan of the Lord from the feet to head. नीचे से ऊपर देखते हैं भगवान को पहले सर नहीं देख we don't need to see the face.
First we focus on the feet and then we go.
Yeah.
Okay, any question on Arati? I know it was very quick and it takes some time. And if devotees want, I can demonstrate an Arati at some point
Sure,
of
sure,
time.
sure.
Yes, yes.
Practical that.
Yeah, you can train.
Yes, we will.
क्योंकि पुजारी ट्रेनिंग में क्या होता है और it may not be everybody, it may be only a specific group of devotees who really want to learn Arati, and we can
Oh my God.
show. And in Pujari training what we do is we ask the devotee to do the Arati, and then we write all the notes of all the steps that were missed, and then we tell them, and after 2-3 times they become after those observation, and then they can go to the altar and worship. I mean actually आप किसी को भी altar में नहीं भेज दोगे, जाओ और बोलो आप पीछे देख रहे हैं प्रभु जी क्या करना है, अभी तो it's execution time, it's not a training time though.
Because that they have learned, starting with Ayansh and Ayushi and Ishana, they are going to start with Dehino.
Dehino asmin yatade
यथा देहे
Komaram yamuna
क्योमारम यौनमनम जरा प्राप्ते मात्र स्पर्शस्तु कौन्तेय वो माइक है तो वो लड़के को
नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न ते हन्यमाने शरीरे
Yamyatayat karmano niyatra
sarma sarachara.
Yajna sanasanto.
Yajna sisti sanasanto.
Mujyante sarvakilbishai.
Mujyante sarvakilbishai.
Pujyante te tavagam papa.
Pujyante te tavagam papa.
Ye pajanti atmakaranat.
Ye pajanti atmakaranat.
Parapraptam.
Evam parapraptam.
Imam rajashayo vidu.
Imam rajasyayo vidu.
Sakalaneha
How नजदीक लो.
Sakalaneha mahata.
Logo yam Yogo nashta parantapa.
Yogo nastha parantapa.
Paritranaya sadhuna. Paritranaya sadhuna. Yada hi dharmasya.
Yada hi dharmasya.
Glane bhavati bharata.
Glane bhavati bharata.
Abhyuthanam dharmasya.
Abhyudhanam dharmasya.
Tadatmanam shrijamyaham.
Tadatmanam
shrijamyaham.
Paritranadunam.
Paritranadunam.
Vinashaya cha dushkritam.
Vinachaya dushkritam.
Dharma samsthapanarthaya.
Dharma samsthapanarthaya.
Sambhavami yuge yuge.
Sambhavani yuge yuge. Dharma karma cha vediyam.
Evam yodeshi tatvata.
Tattva deham punarjanma.
Tattva deham punarjanma.
Nati mameti so Arjuna.
Nati meti sarjuna. कुछ बोलना